Jesus said at one point, he says, I told you, I don't remember exactly how, don't have a sword.
Yeah.
But any of you that don't have a sword, go sell your extra cloak and get one.
Get one.
That's when they pull one out and they said, we've got two, Lord. He says, that's enough. And then that night in the Garden of Gethsemane,
Peter
cuts off
the ear.
And he didn't go like this and, oh, yes. He took it, he was swinging for the guy's head and he ducked, I think, and got his ear, like that.
So weapons could be justified.
Oh, yeah. Sure, I could justify weapons.
We didn't want to say that on there, but certainly a danger if he wouldn't come in and say, okay, everybody go out today and get a 357 Magnum. He just kind of bring it in slowly, just mention things like that, introduce it to the elders first, and then, develop things, and then people would start having ideas, and they would think it's their own when actually, like I said,
it's already been planted in their subconscious.
And the danger of the outside world is certainly planted, isn't it?
Certainly.
It's
Absolutely.
easy to point to examples that are. Let's see, we were talking. Betrothed. Children are betrothed. That's
no, we don't know a whole lot about that.
All right.
That's a new thing.
After our time. That's a new thing.
So, but your children have told you about this?
Yeah, my daughter Olivia and Lydia are probably going to be betrothed to somebody.
Which would mean they would marry at what age?
Who knows?
When they say.
Yeah.
Michael, for you to talk on camera is a danger to your own family, really, in that you could be cut off from them. Couldn't you just first be
No,
fired?
I wouldn't allow that. See, I'm not scared of Gene Spriggs anymore. He's actually, I think, scared of me. I was going to kill him one time when I was in the community. I went kind of haywire in my mind, went and borrowed a gun from somebody because I saw the devastation that he had caused. This is like in 1988 or something, just before James left. And then I caught myself and came to my senses and gave the gun back and the 2 bullets. And I told him about it. I went and told Gene Spriggs about it.
What was it that drove you over the edge at that point?
I just saw how he was destroying everybody's life. I saw him as Big Brother, from 1984. He was the Big Brother. He had created the Big Brother. Friends would tell on friends. The day James left, he came over to me as best friend and couldn't even tell me. He was wanting to tell me he wanted to leave. He wanted me to leave with him, But he was scared, and plus I think I blurted out something like, oh man, if I were to leave, I'd probably become a homosexual.
Yeah, that's one of Spriggs' teachings.
Yeah, that's one of Spriggs' teachings. And James goes, oh man, I better not tell him. So, it's just, you flip-flop. One minute you're totally in the light with him and going with the teachings, and the next minute you see all the chaos. I mean, those people are suffering, unbelievably suffering. Even though they're shining on the outside,
it looks like a very happy, contented place.
Oh yeah, and at times it really is. Come Friday night, you have the celebrations and you can dance and all the problems are gone and you're getting ready to have a Sabbath, but it's not just a real hard life, it's the most stressful life I think there is.
Why?
Because you're in fear, you're living in fear
all the time. Every emotion is, is motivated by fear. Everything is checked by fear.
Not out of love. In the beginnings, I believe it was love. I mean, in the beginnings, I had peace. I actually, for several years, literally, for the first time in my life, had no fear of death whatsoever. I don't know how exactly. Maybe I really had some kind of faith or something at that point. But I had no fear of death. I'm not really scared of death now. But all of a sudden, I did get fearful of death again when children started dying of whooping cough and people started dying of things in the community. We hadn't had death in the community for a long time. And like the first time I ever doubted was, I think, like 1978. The first doubt ever came to my mind in 4 years. Just an incident that happened that caused me to question Gene's authority.
You mentioned the deaths. Were there deaths, unnecessary deaths, because of lack of medical care?
Oh, definitely. Eddie Wiseman's wife had uterine cancer, was very curable. She had a baby, and then could have gone and treated it, but they treated it with, not discounting natural means. I know people who have been cured that way. But the way that they chose, they starved her to death, basically. It ended up killing her. But the community, Gene